Talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. My name is Dr. Marissa, and you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon on your phone or computer at www.ubnradio.com, Channel 1, out of the Sunset Gower Studios, and every Thursday at 7 p.m. on my newly syndicated channel, NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no angry ranting, there's no political rhetoric, no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. No Kardashian talk. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how to be happy 88% of the time. I'm your host, Dr. Marissa Pay, and thanks to my station manager, Tony, Paul, Brett, and sound engineers, Carlos and Mia, at both my UBN and KCAA broadcasting families, and then my assistant producer and sound engineer now, Jarvis Essex. Well, since the United Nations calls September 21st International Day of Peace, I am celebrating peace all month. And last week I had the author Brent Hunter, whose book, The Rainbow Bridge, was endorsed by a man known for peace, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And congratulations to Adele, Lisa, Kevin, Jane, and Lena for winning free copies of his book, The Rainbow Bridge. Yes, that's what happens when I am now called the Asian Oprah. I have to give stuff away on the show. And don't forget that at the end of every show, I will be giving away something. So today there's a DVD. So you'll want to stay till the end. This week I'm focusing on something that Brent said was vital to getting to world peace, and that is inner peace. And you will remember I brought on a special guest who was last year one of my first series guests, and that's Chris Shrader. And he came on courageously and talked about his past pain, and we went through the life balance coaching process, healing from his past pain of being sexually abused by an Episcopalian priest when he was a teenager. So I brought Chris back here to talk about inner peace and forgiveness. So welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And then my second special guest is my new talented musical friend who puts very wise words into music and sings it in a way that zings your heart and your mind. You may have seen Dani Shay on America's Got Talent and the Glee Project. Please welcome Dani Shay. So you can tell I love the applause. It goes on for so long.
Makes you feel great.
Yes, it does. It's affirming, as I want everyone to feel as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And inner peace is one of my favorite topics, so I'm glad that we're focusing on it. And I know that there are a lot of people on the planet right now who do not have inner peace, do not have peace of mind. I hear many people, I had more peace of mind when I had money. Before the economy went around, I had more peace of heart. Before I've had health issues, or my children have health issues, or my parents have health issues. Before I hate my job, I have no inner peace because of that. So there's a myriad of my relationships suck. Technical term, and that's not giving me inner peace. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to, because I love a challenge, I think one of the most difficult things to find inner peace from is past abuse. Mm-hmm. And so I invited Chris, and I actually invited Dani to sing, but it turns out we had a little meeting beforehand that, the friendly universe makes no accidents, so she can also speak to the pain from that and what it's like to not have inner peace. So let's go back first with Chris, and taking a deep breath and just remembering back when you first came on in July of last year, so a year ago, so like 15, 16 months ago.
Right.
And inner peace was definitely not on your platter.
I don't think I had this smile on my face.
You had no smile on your face. I ran out of time. I was going to put some before and after pictures, but now I have a real after picture, which we'll do. But remind us where you were as far as where your mind was, where your heart was. Did you have inner peace when we started?
No, I did not. And that's how we met, is you reached out to me after I reached out to you, and I was in the process of working with politics in the California system to pass a bill in California that would have changed the statute of limitations on child sex abuse, and would have also opened up a financial window of recovery had the governor signed the bill.
And this was just to remind those who have not gone through your 8 series, which you can pick up on free,
right,
by the way, on iTunes. And then halfway through our process, we got cameras here at the studio, so you can actually watch Chris and I for half of the sessions on YouTube. But Chris, just in a synopsis, if you don't mind, because I like to get
right
in there. You were abused as a teenager by an Episcopalian priest.
From the ages of 12 to 15.
And then you went many, many years in
34.
shame.
I went from the age of 15, which was 1971 when it stopped, until 1990, when I finally told someone, a professional person that could deal with that, what had happened to me. So I was 34 years old.
34 years. And in those 34 years, did you have inner peace?
No, not the kind of peace that I felt the day I called you to tell you of the moment of epiphany that I had. No, I've never felt the kind of peace, the inner peace that I have after being able to write this paragraph that I read to you.
Yeah. The peace that passeth all understanding. One of my favorite scripture verses, because in life, peace is happy. I know how to feel, right? Peace is one of those, it's a little bit harder to put your arms and your hands around. But so to make it clear, when do you know you're not at peace? So let's go there for a second. How do you know, Dani, how do you know when you're feeling not at peace? What's going on in your head and your heart?
Well, I know that when I'm feeling anxious or, because usually when I'm feeling anxious, it's a signal from my body telling me, like, I need to breathe, I need to center myself, I need to get grounded, and then I can tell, yes, okay, now I feel I'm at peace in this moment,
When you remember, and you shared with me, so you also are a child of abuse. Okay. When you, and many of my clients, and myself included, I'm a child of physical abuse. When I remember that abuse, the cycle starts, and that's when I know I'm not at peace, because what happens is I'll feel, I'll go back and I'll remember what it was like to be beaten. I'll remember what it was like to get slapped. I remember what it was like waking up in the hospital, knowing that I had been hurt. And then as I grew, I began to get more and more angry. Okay, so why is this happening to me? How did it happen? How could this happen to me? Why would this happen to me? Have I done anything wrong? Step in. Any other things that you're thinking?
Yeah, things like that. I remember, in my teenage years being very angry, and later anger with myself too, anger that I didn't speak up sooner, tell someone sooner. So there was some shame, attached to it, and frustration about how it was handled, even though, everyone handled it the best they could with what they knew and how they knew how to handle it. But there was definite frustration in that way. Can you resonate?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year when I got involved in the bill and the process, and we ultimately got the bill passed, there was a sense of relief that there was finally going to be something done in an area that hadn't been addressed in such a long time. And there is so much denial about the abuse to begin with that when you bring the subject up of abuse, and especially sexual abuse, you can kill a conversation in seconds.
Oh, yeah.
You can ruin a friendship. You can ruin a relationship. You can destroy everything that's going on positive around you just by bringing the subject up.
Right, and even worse than that,
it carries on.
It's you, the biggest sufferer.
Is me.
Exactly. And I think that's why it was so important for, we talk about world peace and we want to get to world peace. But how can we get to world peace if all of us, or most of us, have no inner peace? Because we cannot get over what was done to us. And here's the thing, in the old days, you would, if you heard of someone being abused, or if you heard of someone having sexual abuse or physical abuse, it sounded like it was it wasn't the rule. It was the exception to the rule. What we're knowing now, as more and more and more and more people come forward and have the courage, and as your new tagline, Chris, silent no more, and understanding that if we want to get rid of the abuse, you have to step forward and say something, even if it kills the conversation.
Right.
So, but here's the real deal is, for many on the planet, this is not the exception to the rule. The reason why I talk about it is because I got to talk about it. Yeah. There are more people suffering and marinating and at so far from inner peace because they marinate in that pain and the shame and the blame and the anger and the hostility and the revenge, that we'll never get to world peace, number one. Yeah. We're never going to get to inner peace because we have to find a way out of that.
Right.
Right? Exactly. So and it is a process. Chris was telling me beforehand, I'm a recovering control freak, but I wanted you to talk about forgiveness. And he goes, yeah, but it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. It's like, well, okay. But I've always, and I've gotten in trouble for saying this, and I hope I don't get in trouble today, but I do believe that it doesn't take as long as some people think it does. Not you necessarily, because what's wonderful, why I wanted to bring Chris back on here, is even though my ego would like to say, oh, after 8 sessions with Dr. Marissa on the air, Chris was happy, joyous, and free, happy 88% of the time, and all was well with Chris. And the reality was he went through a process where we did go into that deep hole called the sexual abuse, and we did clean it out.
Right.
And we did a lot of really good work, and we funneled his angry energy into the legislative work, which he did really well with. Jerry Brown didn't do his part, but, he did a great job, and you're now involved with Institute of Violence, Abuse, and Trauma, which is wonderful. Yeah. But he was still really angry.
And can get angry still,
but not 88% of the time.
I had an 88% day on August 23rd.
What happened?
I was at a men's conference. I heard a man talk for about 40 minutes about his own story, his own abuse, and where he was at in his life on that day, and how he was able to forgive the abusers that got him to the point in his life where he could believe it in his heart that he truly forgave them. It did not discount what happened. It does not discount what happened to me. It does not discount what happened to you. And it doesn't discount anything to anyone that's listening to this show right now.
Yeah.
It does not discount what happened to you.
Yes.
But the foundation of your life cannot be built on one of anger and resentment.
And that's what I wanted you to come on and say. Thank you for following my recovering control freak tendencies. but there's magic. Did you feel it? Could you feel his vibration right there? I mean, that was not there the last time we met at Christmas time.
No.
Because you were, and it's okay. And it's okay. My ego's okay. Because, like you said, it is a process. But I am so happy for you, because now you can get to inner peace. Now you can feel the peace that passeth understanding. And forgiveness is, in my mind, gratitude works really well, but it's not as powerful as forgiveness. Forgiveness, to me, a spoonful of gratitude, but a fork, a nice big skewer fork going in there to forgive peacefully, to forgive what has happened to you in the past, is a magical way to inner peace. I can totally, I promise you, if you've never tried it, okay, but let's talk about, and if you've just tuned in, why I'm on my forgiveness rant. This is Dr. Marissa. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. And I'm actually talking about advice that I do use. And I'm here with my special guests, Chris Shrader and Dani Shay. And we're talking about the power of forgiveness in getting to inner peace. Chris, you were going to say something.
Well, when I wrote this paragraph out, it was, my day started at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was 6:40 in the evening, and I was sitting in the parking lot of my church. So I had been going for 13 and a half hours that day, full throttle. And I was sitting in my car when I realized that there's this block that's been blocking me for 43 years. This has taken me 43 years to be able to write these words. And as soon as I finished writing these words, I wrote, "Let it be known on this day, August 23rd, 2014, I have forgiven Richard O'Shaughnessy for causing harm to me when he molested me for 3 years from age 12 to 15. I no longer will be resentful at him. I have forgiven him and gave him to God." I called my best friend that's known me for 24 years and knows my whole story like you do. I got his voicemail on his cell phone, and before I could get out of the church parking lot, he called me and said, "Chris, wow, what happened? I've never, and for as long as we've known each other, I've never heard you sound like that, and I'm getting goosebumps telling you the story." I get goosebumps when I talk about it, and I tell this. I have never, from the moment I put the period next to God on this paper, I have never, ever felt more free in my life.
Yeah.
It
There
took 43 years for me to do this. And it was at the prompting of a man named Victor Marx that got me to do this.
Yeah, and he was used. And it is a process. So, Dani, similar?
I remember, well, I think it happened in phases. Like, I had this a pivotal moment when I was doing a course, one of the courses I told you about earlier, where, you do a lot of inner work. And one of the things that I realized was that all these people, not just my abusers, not just the people I felt oppressed by growing up, but also all these people in the world that have this power and misuse it. The moment I realized that they are probably the most in need of compassion and love and help, and they're probably the most unpeaceful in their own brains, and they're probably experiencing even more suffering than I. That's when it dawned on me, like, wow, they must, my abusers and beyond, like, must be experiencing so much unhappiness, so much discontentment, so much suffering inside that they don't even know how to handle it.
Right.
And it lashes out and it comes out, and obviously abuse comes in many different forms and for many different reasons, and I'm not trying to I guess
psychoanalyze.
Like try to package it up all quick and everything. But the realization for me that was so key was just that, wow, that I can have compassion for those that abused me, and then later realized how that we all hurt each other on accident and on purpose.
Right.
That we all have done things that hurt other people, and yes, some certainly more severe than others, but to recognize that it's in our human nature to make those mistakes, and then to have that inner prayer that they will have peace, that they too will have peace.
I'll tell you how mine went. It's by far the most powerful thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I was one of those that believed, the past, you can't change it, so pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just keep going. And I didn't let those feelings of sadness and anger, I just sort of squashed it down and like a garbage disposal panel. And then what happens usually when we do that is it liquefies and then it turns into gas, and then we've got gas leaking out of ourselves, and we don't smell the gas, but everybody, all of a sudden we have no friends or whatever it is. So when I finally realized that I had no peace, I would try to meditate because everybody was learning how to meditate, and I realized that when I was meditating, all I was thinking about, my mind was wandering, and then eventually it would wander, to painful moments. And I went to a class, and my favorite teacher, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, was teaching this class, and he's going to be on the air with me next week, fittingly, to talk about world peace and inner peace. But he said the most amazing thing, which was this. Forgiveness, usually, if I think about forgiveness, it's I forgive you. I am so good. I am so magnanimous that I'm going to forgive you, even though you're such a schmuck and an a-hole and a B and a da-da-da-da-da. This one's not going to be with the FCC.
Right.
All of these things, I'm going to do you a favor and forgive you, okay? Or I am never going to forgive you. That is so horrific. What you did to me was so horrific, was so uncalled for, was so wrong that I will never forgive you. Okay, so those are the two things that I would oscillate back and forth on. And one day I heard, even before I was in that class, I heard this expression, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
Right? And then my own version of that is, I hate you so much, I don't want to look at you, so I'm going to gouge out my own eye.
Yeah.
Right? So all of a sudden, I knew that this unforgiveness, my refusal to forgive, was only hurting me.
Right.
That's it. That was the bottom line. And when Reverend Michael said, they will have to bump into themselves.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make them do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I went, bing, 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 bing. It was all of a sudden, it was like that same, the period at the end of it, and that feeling of relief. It's like, and here's the other fabulous thing about forgiveness as a tool. You don't have to be religious. There's a lot of people that equate forgiveness, forgive them, they know what they do, or forgive them as we forgive those who trespassed against us. So you don't have to be religious to be able to use forgiveness as a tool to get your butt out of the marinade of pain.
Exactly.
So that is one of the most, nothing against religion, but if you're not of that bent, you don't have to suffer.
Right.
You know, the church doesn't own forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they don't.
So that's the beautiful thing. One is it's about you, not about them. So
Starts
now
within.
I can remember all of that, and I can still feel sad, you know, as a child.
Yeah.
You know, I can feel sad for you because you didn't ask for it. I can feel sad for you. We went through that whole session where it's like any voices that said to you, you know, maybe I brought it on, maybe I should have told somebody earlier, any of that guilt, that's BS. That's a belief system, that's bullshit talkie, out the door.
Right.
The key for me in this is that it is acting on my own behalf. Forgiveness is a gift that I give myself.
Right.
And when I can do that, then I'm at that place where I can actually be a beneficial presence on the planet and talk about world peace without being a hypocrite.
Right.
Because how can we have world peace when we still hate ourselves? Right?
When you free yourselves of your own bondage, then you're able to help others.
Yes.
And when you're able to help others, that is the most significant thing you can do in your life, is to be able to help others. So you just because I believe in my heart that I really do forgive him for what happened, doesn't mean that I'm not an advocate for the prevention of further abuse.
Absolutely.
And bringing people that are sitting at home right now,
yeah.
or a man my age that's sitting at home right now, drug addicted or alcohol addicted, and can't get out of his own chair from his TV because he's living in the shame that he thinks it's his fault that he got himself there. And he doesn't know how to get out of it.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Absolutely. There's the balance.
And it's the gift too. That's the gift. That is the gift in our experience, and the gift in our pain is is that we get to transform the pain into helping and into service and into
music and into words and into books and into letters. Wow, like that just like gave me the chills. There is, you know, somebody said to me 15 years ago, aren't you glad that you went through all you did? Because look at how fabulous you are now. And I got pissed.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that I should be thankful that I got abused? Are you telling me that I should be thankful that it was a horrific divorce? Are you telling me that and at that time I was still a baby in my understanding. And the most beautiful thing is exactly what both of you have just said, is that when we can turn that corner. So first, forgiveness 101 is to forgive for yourself.
Right.
Okay. Forgiveness 201, second year, of Life University, is having enough compassion and understanding and gratefulness and wisdom to know that it is a system. So bullies are often bullied at home. Abusers are often grew up with abuse.
Right.
Right? It's a systemic system that continues, and if we don't talk about it and are not aware of it and do not do the legislative work that we need to do, it continues to infiltrate our planet. So that's 201. 301 is to actually be grateful that we had an experience so horrific that we have the compassion and the understanding and the empathy to look at others who have gone and just exactly what you did to the camera and on the microphone to say, if you're out there and you're sitting in your pain and you don't think anyone understands how you feel when you were abused, you're wrong. The 3 people in this room right now who are looking at you with love and with understanding know that you are not defined by your abuse. You are not defined by what other people who didn't know better did to you. You are defined by the peace that is within you, the love that is within you, the connection that we are all connected to that energy grid called love. And that is grad school for forgiveness. So
Yes.
if you just tuned in, we're about to take a break. I'm so grateful that you're here listening to one of the most important shows that I think I've done, which is Inner Peace by Forgiveness as a Way to World Peace. We'll be right back in 2 and 2.
Celebrate life on the beach and learn to surf with the M&M Surfing School. Whether it's on your bucket list or not, it's time to learn how to ride the waves. M&M provides you with everything you need. Safety first, affordable rates, equipment from ages 5 to 105, and expert instruction for all levels. Call 714-846-7873. That's 714, the letter U, go surf, and come to Seal Beach and start your life all over again with M&M. Register now at www.surfingschool.com. Celebrate summer and find a perfect bathing suit to show off your beauty. Yvette's Bikinis on Main Street in Seal Beach will flatter your body with bikinis, bikinis, cover-ups, sundresses, and other accessories in all shapes and sizes. Visit www.thebathingsuitqueen.com and get 25% off any purchase, because it's never too late to have fun in the sun.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And we're back. I have Chris Shrader and Dani Shay in my studio today talking about inner peace as a way to world peace and forgiveness as a way into inner peace. And it's been an amazing discussion so far. I need to define one thing. You know, when I say I'll be back in 2 and 2, for those of you who aren't old enough to remember Love Connection, that's where I got it from. But I do it on purpose because I believe that to reset ourselves on a daily basis, we do need to vent. You know, just to get out that frustration. We can't be all serenity now all the time. So when I say 2 and 2, it means 2 people to vent to for 2 minutes, and then that's it. You can't come back. And that way you stay happy 88% of the time. So I did bring Dani Shay into the studio originally because I heard her performing, and her music is out of this world. She's you will be seeing her on big stages and little stages. She has a huge heart. She loves to help. She's got many different causes that she's helping as a planet in the world. But this is my favorite song. So Dani, take it away.
Okay. This is called Street Lamp. Sometimes I'm steady like a rock. Sometimes the truth speaks when I talk, but then again a little more often than not, I'm pushing through the fog of my own thoughts, and then the street lamp in my head flips a switch and I come back ready to devise a stronger plan of attack. I know these circumstances are to help me train to be a warrior for peace against my brain. Sometimes I'm open to receive. Sometimes even when my eyes are closed I can see. But sometimes in a matter of minutes I'm so far down, suddenly I'm looking up to see the ground, and then the street lamp in my head flips a switch and I come back, ready to devise a stronger plan of attack. I know these circumstances are to help me train to be a warrior for peace against my brain. So don't ask me how we came to be, 'cause it really doesn't matter, you see, because life is but a dream filled with the ultimate distractions. Maneuver your way through them and you're free. Oh, if you get there first, come find me. Come find me, yeah. Sometimes I'm taken by surprise. Sometimes I can see God in my eyes. But sometimes, like a dragon's breath, the smoke reappears, and I'm blinded once again by my fears. But then the street lamp in my head flips a switch and I come back, ready to devise a stronger plan of attack. I know these circumstances are to help me train to be a warrior for peace against my brain, my own crazy brain.
Isn't that amazing?
That was beautiful. I thought she might have been in my head this morning.
Exactly why I wanted to come on. I found her at the Agape International Spiritual Center, and I said, I usually don't have musicians on my show because I used to. I always had a song of the week, and I would pick one, and then I kept getting all these great guests who had great things to say, and so the music kind of stepped aside, but I knew I had to have you because that song it speaks exactly to the flashlight that has gone in all three of our minds, and the dragon's breath, the fear, the unforgiveness is what gets the filter that blocks the light.
Right.
And so that light is always there. The sun always shines, right? Even if we close our eyes, the sun is still shining.
Right.
So that the love and the peace and the joy of who we are is always there. If our mind cannot get to forgiveness, then we won't be in the sun.
You have to let the sunshine of the Spirit penetrate the fog.
Yeah.
And once the sunlight of the Spirit penetrates the fog, it takes over everything else.
Yeah.
And everything will be good and can be good.
Yeah, I'm getting a tan in the sunlight of the Spirit. So, Dani, you, for those of you who have seen her before, I'm sure if you watch America's Got Talent or the Glee Project, Dani has been on both of those, and there's going to be more things coming, but I'm not going to give that away. But if you enjoy her music and would like to support her in creating more music, which is all money is just an energy to help us make more of the gifts that we have, and everybody has their gift. Every single person, 7 billion unique things that everybody does. But how can we support you?
I can be found on iTunes, so that's probably the easiest way. iTunes, that song is available on iTunes among lots of others. And then, if you'd like, you can go to my website, danishay.com, and it's a brand new website. I'm very excited about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful. Chris, you've been working with IVAT.
Yeah, IVAT just had their conference last week in San Diego, and the meetings I've been involved with have been incredibly powerful, and it was their 23rd anniversary. So hopefully, in the next year, when we talk about legislation, there's 2 bills sitting on Governor Brown's desk right now that are not as powerful as last year's bill was that he vetoed, and there's some hope that he's going to sign one or both, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
I'm trying to write my own book called Silent No More.
Great.
I have a story I want to share more deeply than what we've done on the show, and the gift that was given to me to be able to do this, I want to platform it and build upon it. And in order to contact me, they'd probably have to contact you. And
That's fine. That's fine.
But there is so much work to be done in the country and in the world about abuse, child abuse, sex abuse, domestic violence, those sorts of things. They're hot button issues right now.
Yep.
You can avoid it as much as you don't want to watch the news. You're going to hear about something, but it's whatever the topic of the day might be. It might be domestic violence this week. It might be a child that's been kidnapped 12 years ago and just found, like the girls in Cleveland last year that were found. So it's an ongoing thing, and as I said, the forgiveness and the healing from that is a process.
Yes.
She sung about it in her song that every day we wake up, it's a new way to start over, and you hit the reset button, and you can do that all day long. Yeah. You have the ability to hit the reset button at any moment of the day.
Start the day over at any point.
Any moment, any point.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I would like to do, but coming out and 24 years ago, telling someone what happened was the greatest thing that ever happened. Was removing the things that I was using to anesthetize myself and keep myself in the denial and stopping that and for the first time in my adult life, opening up to another man about what happened to me was a huge step. And that's why I say that I know there's men right now that are marinating and don't know what to do.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you just said that. I'm like bubbling up with excitement over here. Because before you even touched on that, I wanted to commend and thank you for your bravery and your courage to do that, to come out as a man and say these things, because I know that same thing that that there are men who are living with that secret, and that secret is a heavy weight to bear, and I feel that because our society has put so much pressure and false ideas about what strength is. The idea that vulnerability is a weakness is a complete lie.
BS.
It's that vulnerability is actually one of the greatest strengths and is a key to happiness. It is a key. You must be willing, just like you did, to come forth and be vulnerable, because that's how you heal, and that's how you can let go and then move forward. So I really wanted to thank you for that.
You will not fall forever. I think many of my clients come and they go, I just don't want to go there, because if I go there, it's like it's going to be Humpty Dumpty. I'm never going to come out. I'm going to crash into a million pieces, and I'm going to fall forever. And then when I stop falling, I'll die. Yeah. And so they don't want to go back there because they can't change it. But the reality is, you can go back there. You will not die. You will be able to put yourself back together because you are whole. There's nothing broken. It is the brain and the belief systems about what happened that are holding you from the truth. And the truth is, as we said, what a beautiful purpose we all three here have, that we can talk about what happened and provide hope that it doesn't matter what happened to you.
Well, the word vulnerable is a dichotomy in itself, that people think that when they were vulnerable, they were taken advantage of. And so when you become, I being vulnerable enough to stand up and say, just to stand in front of the Senate last year and say, this happened to me, and I don't want it to happen anymore to anyone else.
Right.
And if it happened to your children, what would you do about it? So it's being vulnerable is not a weakness.
Right.
Exactly.
And for people that are listening and thinking that I don't want to be vulnerable because the last time I was vulnerable, I was abused for it, that is not the approach to take of being vulnerable and being willing to make a difference in your own life for your own self, to step up and say, I'm not going to live like this anymore.
That's
and
right.
this is obviously touching on those that have experienced it in the past. If you're in a situation where you're currently experiencing abuse and you are in a literally a physically vulnerable situation, that's a different story.
Right.
But to obviously, once you're in safety, once you're physically safe, to travel back into your mind and back into your memories and things like that is a safe and vulnerable place to go. And yeah, like I said, I think one of the hugest keys to attaining real happiness.
And it's a paradigm shift too, a BS calling moment where if all life is to come on the planet and have a safe existence and nothing bad happen to you. Okay, but what if life is all about every single person having the experience they are having in order to move the planet?
Yeah.
Right? So the ones who have been abused take that experience to help others and to bring awareness and some education, to break the patterns of silence,
Yes,
to break the patterns of blame, to break the patterns of embarrassment. So what if all of our experiences, no matter what they are, relationships, health, abuse, whatever it is, are all meant in our own way to bring the planet into a higher plane.
There's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
It's like a purification system.
Yeah. So what if we all? That's what it is. Yes. Big house, big car. Die with the most toys.
Right.
Leave something for our kids. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. But what if? What if all of this was designed not to punish, nothing to do with karma, but it was all about experiencing life to its fullest and then taking those experiences and then bringing the planet to a lighter place. I mean, what if that was it? What if that was the meaning of life? What if that was the purpose of all of our experiences? What if every single pain point, that calling card, was an educational system for us to evolve into higher states of joy, into higher states of peace, into higher states of love?
Marinate in that.
Marinate. Take that and marinate it. That's wonderful. Thank you so much,
You're
Chris, for
welcome.
coming back on. Thank you for saying I want to come back on and talk about forgiveness. That was, you started this show. And Dani, thank you so much for sharing your gift.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Many aspects of it. It was absolutely beautiful. Yay! And now we are at that end of the show time when I invite you to step up to my balance bar. Sling. Jarvis is looking. Where is it? Where is it? Anyways, you can imagine a magic wand right now. I guess it didn't get. There we go. It's a wait for it. Wait for it. So the balance bar is as follows. This is where you. I give you a menu of how you can come and play with me and what I'm giving away in the capacity of the Asian Oprah. Celebrating International Peace Day. Yes, I'm giving you a piece of my mind and a piece of my heart continuously. On September 20th, the day before the official day, I will be teaching Balance Tai Chi Gong, which is Tai Chi and Qigong, 18 forms that I put a balance treatment on top with a lot of the new thought, ancient wisdom teachings that you hear on the show. And I'll be teaching that at the Agape International Spiritual Center in Culver City on their first annual yoga day. And so there's going to be all different kinds of hatha, kundalini, there's going to be dance, there's going to be all kinds of beautiful expressions of peace. So join me. That is Saturday the 20th. So I'm giving away a free signed copy of my DVD, Balance Tai Chi Gong, promoting inner peace one breath at a time. So please do. This time, I'd like you to go to my Facebook, and the first person to give me a finger, a thumbs up, at my Dr. Marissa page will get a signed copy of the DVD. So I will see you there. It's all day. Go to agapelive.com to see what the menu is there. I will be teaching at 2. And I will also be an MC for the Asian Entrepreneur Awards September 26th at the Beverly Hilton. For tickets to the gala, go to aeenterprise.com. That's where I won my 2012 Asian Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And finally, today is day 16, round 39 of the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa, where you try to go 21 days in a row without complaining. And I only know 2 people who have said, I made it, and they got a free pack of 52-card pick-me-up, Stacking the Deck for Life Balance. So this is your official challenge. We're well into round 39. Round 40 begins October 1st. Today is day 16, and so today's balance tip is eating a complaint leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Rinsing with gratitude or a compliment restores my kissability. Take to the balance challenge today. Can you find 8 people to compliment 8 times today? That's your challenge. Can you tell I like the number 8? It is a Chinese homonym for good fortune. And that's it for today. Tune in this Thursday on my NBC News Radio channel when I have my call-in segment again, where last week Chantel from Dallas and Heather from Detroit wrestled with how to be more of a taker in a relationship and how to calm the committee in our head. You can download the podcast by going to kcaaradio.com and listen in live this Thursday at 7 p.m. And you can also call 832-999-1050 if you're not in your car. Contact my assistant producer, Jarvis. Say hi, Jarvis. If you'd like to be on the list by signing the guest list at forbalance.org. And then next week, you are in for a huge treat. I'm so blessed to have on the air with me for the 3rd time on this show one of the avatars of our time, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. You may remember him as one of the teachers from The Secret, the movie. He's been on Oprah, the founder of Agape, Larry King Live he's been on. So he's an award-winning author, speaker, and my big brother because he did teach me the secret to inner peace through forgiveness. And let's see, that is exclusively on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, E-I. And I forgot one more thing. Mama Byers is moving back to the East Coast, and I wanted to give her a special love. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'll miss you, but I know you're going to be holding all of us in love from the other side of the States. So that's Dr. Marissa Pay, P for positive, E-I, because it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
My mark like initials carved in an old oak tree. You wait and see. Maybe I'll write like Twain wrote. Maybe I'll paint like Van Gogh. Cure the common cold. I don't know, but I'm ready to start, 'cause I know in my heart I wanna do something that matters. Say something different, something that sets the whole world on its